All right, so good morning, everyone. A very early good morning from us on the East Coast of the United States. It is 3 a.m. on our little side of the world, but we are just so excited to be here with you today. My name is Grace Finn, and with me I have my colleague, Khaled Alshehri, and we are here to talk to you today about self-determination strategies to empower students with disabilities to take control of their own lives. So just a quick introduction. I am Grace Finn. I am a second-year doctoral student at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Before returning to school, I was an occupational course of study teacher in North Carolina. I worked with students at the high school level who had mild to moderate disabilities and prepared them for the workforce following high school. And my research focus is on the identification of barriers to and facilitators of employment for people with autism.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you. My name is Khaled Alshehri, and from Saudi Arabia, and I just work as a speech teacher for 3 years. And after that, I moved to work as a TA, and after that, I just come to the United States, and I'm getting my master, and now I'm second-year doctoral student in University of North Carolina in Greensboro. And my research focus is in transition service, self-determination, and communication skills. And yes.
So before we jump into our session, we wanted to give you an overview of how the session would progress today. So we're going to look, first at our session outcomes. We'll look at the statement of the problem. Why are we here today talking to you about self-determination? We'll define self-determination, we'll talk about the importance of it, and we'll outline some strategies for teaching self-determination, and then we'll present you with 2 scenarios so you can see how self-determination can be worked on in the classroom. So after being at this session, we hope that you are able to define the concept of self-determination, describe the importance of self-determination for students with disabilities, identify and evaluate current strategies and resources for teaching self-determination, and also integrate strategies learned into the classroom environment. So why are we here talking to you about self-determination? Data show that in 2022, the global unemployment rate for people with disabilities was 7.6%, and that's compared to 6% for people who do not have disabilities. Research also shows that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are more likely to work in sheltered or in segregated entry-level positions, where they're earning lower wages, working fewer hours than their peers without disabilities, and are at risk for bullying. We also know that individuals with developmental disabilities are often involved in volunteer work. So they're contributing their skills and their time, but they're not being appropriately compensated for being there.
Yes. Here we will talk about the self-determination. And what is the self-determination? Self-determination, to be honest with you, we just look for a lot of definition, and there are a lot of people who just create their own self-determination definition for them. But the problem is the self-determination is abstract thing, and it's not easy to describe it in some word. But we just do our best, and we just do a research to just find the best definition, and we will choose one of these definition and also divide it into a small scales. The first one here is believing you can control your own destiny, but it's not a comprehensive definition. The second one, it's my favorite one. It's just a combination of attitude and ability. When they say here combination, and it's a group, it's not one ability or one skills. It's just a lot of attitude and ability that lead people to set goal for themselves and also take the initiative to reach this goal. Also, like there is another definition, the being in charge, making your own choice, learning to effectively solve problem and taking control and responsibility for one's life. So as I say, like the self-determination is not like, it's like really hard to describe it. And it's like our job as a like a teacher or as a research to simplify this definition or this idea to the people and to understand it, and also to empower the people with disability to do the self-determination. Here, the definition, I just divided into some point, and as I say, like it's combination of attitude and ability that lead people to set goal for themselves, to make their own choice, to learn to effectively solve problem, and also to take control and responsibility for one life. Uh, the self-determination, it's just like a very like big word, and we just like doing this presentation to divide it into the small scales, and we will talk about the component of the self-determination, and we divide it into like I think 5 or 6 like skills in the next slide. And this is just like very important thing. Self-determination, to understand it, we should like understand like the choice making skills, the decision making skills, the problem solving skills. All of these like skills, like finally we can like create the self-determination. I will just give like some point about the choice making skills. Is like the ability to analyze, to ability to express like a preference between like 2 or more like option, and also like the decision making skills. It's the ability to analyze and choose the appropriate like decision for a situation or for specific situation. I know like each like point here, it's like need like one presentation or like need like a lot of work to just describe it. And I try like to give you like an idea about all of this, like the goal setting and the problem solving skills. It's just like the process of identifying problem and find like the solution and understand the advantage and disadvantage for like the solution. The self-advocacy, the self-management, the self-awareness, all of these, like the self-awareness is like one of the important things that should like the people with disability like understand all of these. They should like identify their strength and also their need, and also they know like the limitation there.
So based on our definition, we know that self-determination allows people to take control of their own lives, which is really important. An early foundation of self-determination has shown an improved quality of life, particularly for students with or at risk for disabilities. It has been linked to multiple positive outcomes, including, again, enhanced quality of life and life satisfaction. Students with disabilities exiting high school with higher self-determination levels reported more positive post-school outcomes in employment and community living. So teaching students these skills and giving them this early foundation of being able to make their own choices and decisions and advocate for themselves and be self-aware and understand their own strengths and needs and all of the stuff that kind of goes into setting a course for your own life. It's just so important for them to be able to do that and to be specifically taught those skills.
Okay. Before like teaching self-determination skills, like there is like one of the most like significant challenge that facing the teacher and it's like the teacher like aware about the importance of self-determination, but the problem is how we teach the student with disability, how we empower them to learn these skills. Just like I will just give like some idea about how we like before teaching self-determination skills, we should like do interviewing with the student and their family. Uh, Also looking for like the history record, the peer assessment of our student. Also, we should like identify the strength and the needs of the student and all of this idea. And there's like some of like informal and informal and formal assessment for the self-determination. Uh, there is like here there are a lot of strategy, and one of this important strategy, the self-determined learning model of instruction, the SDLMI. This is one of the important, and I think Grace will talk about this uh, in this presentation. We will like describe it, and we will just want to understand. There are a lot of here, like a lot of strategy, a lot of like idea, but this is just like give you like an idea about what is the uh, it's not like the best strategy, but it's like the most like familiar and the most like we found it in the research, and we just use it in the classroom, and we found all of these like will help like to just um, understand and to help the teacher to teach like the self-determination skills. There is also me lesson for teaching self-awareness and self-advocacy, also the choice maker self-determination curriculum, all of these like, and also the UDL secondary transition, they try to help like the teacher to have like an idea about the strength of the student. And also the last one is the classification of motivation and behavior change technique. They give like some technique to just motivate the student, because one of the important thing in the self-determination, how we motivate the student to do the all of these, like to do the self-determination with themselves.
So in our scenarios, like Khaled said, we're going to be looking at in this first scenario, we're going to be looking at the self-determined learning model of instruction, and then the self-determination inventory student response form. The self-determined learning model of instruction, SDLMI, it's a long acronym to remember. It's not necessarily a curriculum, but more so an approach to integrating self-determination into kind of what you're working with the student on. So we'll see that in action. So here we have Isabella. Isabella is a 15-year-old Latinx student who is a 9th grader at Carolina High School. Her favorite after-school activity is programming club, and when she grows up, she wants to be a programmer at a web design company. She has an IEP and receives special education supports in the inclusion setting, so in the general education classroom, and is served under the disability category of autism. Her special education teacher was recently trained in using the self-determination inventory student response form, and also the SDLMI. So he starts out by giving Isabella a self-determination inventory, and we can see here that it's broken down into 3 categories: decide, act, and believe. And we can see here in this chart that Isabella can decide really well for herself and really believes in herself, but might need a little support in actually acting on her goals. So here's a really great outline of what SDLMI kind of does. In phase 1, the student is going to set a goal. This is the deciding piece. What is the goal that I am trying to accomplish? What is the time frame for this goal? And then in phase 2, they're going to take action. How am I going to achieve this goal? It is the act piece. And then in phase 3, they're going to adjust the goal or plan. So they're going to believe that they can achieve the goal. And that's through self-evaluation. How am I doing? Am I moving towards my goal? Do I need to change my goal a little bit? Is it not what I thought it should be? And just kind of move through this process in order to set their goal and then reach it. So here we have the 3-2-1 snapshot from the SDLMI. So based on the responses from the self-determination inventory student response, Isabella comes up with 3 actions she can take that year to improve her self-determination. Decide. What does that mean to her? Decide to Isabella means using what she knows about her strengths and needs to set goals that she cares about. So an action that she can take is to decide what high school courses to take so she can have the career that she wants in programming. She's already in an after-school club, and that's great because she's getting that experience. But what kind of classes does she need to be in to kind of really strengthen her skills? Act. For Isabella, acting is thinking about different ways to get around barriers that she runs into as she works on her goals. An action she can take is to find out what job she can get while in high school so she can have a career in programming. What else could she be doing to help reach that ultimate goal of being a programmer? And then believing. To Isabella, this just means knowing that she can reach her goals with support. She believes that she can find a job in programming that she will enjoy when she has the right supports. She then identifies 2 self-determination abilities and skills that she wants to make stronger. The first one is problem solving. And for Isabella, problem solving is thinking about different ways to get around a problem and figuring out the best one for her. So a way that she's going to grow this ability or skill is figuring out different ways that she can be a programmer. And the second skill she wants to grow is self-advocacy. She isn't really sure what this is yet, but she keeps hearing that self-advocacy is important. And sometimes it's okay to not know, right? So I love how this form allows students to really think through these different things that are really important, and be okay with not knowing and set a goal to find out. So she's going to learn how to use self-advocacy to get the support she needs. And then lastly, the sheet has the student reflect. One reflection statement about discovering and building her self-determination. So she didn't know self-determination was a thing. Again, something new for her to learn about. And she knows now that it can make things happen in her life. So now she's going to use these self-determination skills to reach her goals. One thing I love about the SDLMI is how intentional it is. It really helps students think through their goals and the process of achieving goals in a really systematic way. It's having them come up with their own definitions and identify their own understandings about different things, and then figure out ways to solve the problems. So then her special education teacher can use this information to create IEP goals. So it all connects together. So she's getting support in school. So for decide, we know that Isabella has set her own goals. So an example goal might be, given graphic organizer supports, Isabella is going to decide 3 strengths and 3 areas for growth related to a future career in programming, and at the end of each week for 4 consecutive weeks, as measured by student rubrics by the end of the 3rd school quarter. So we're taking what Isabella wants to do, her own personal goals, and now we're creating these transition goals and that are intentional, that align with her interests, and are going to continue to push her towards achieving her goal after high school. So under ACT, they've written a goal here. By the end of the academic year, and with support from my college and career counselor and programming club advisor, I will create and implement a weekly action plan to get a summer internship at a programming company to gain experience working in the field for 5 consecutive weeks. And then over here on the right, I don't think I mentioned, they have objectives. So smaller goals that can contribute to meeting the larger goal. And then for believe, in 36 weeks, given opportunities to receive supports in academic and community settings and a self-evaluation sheet, she will identify effective supports used as measured by a self-evaluation checklist. So again, we're really connecting Isabella's wants, her needs, her passion, her goals to her IEP so we can make sure that we're being really intentional about making sure that she meets her goals.
Yes. Uh, as I say, like the self-determination, it's like abstract thing, and what we can like do to divide it into like small skills to understand it and also to teach it for the student. So we talk about the self-determination, and the self-determination is like divide into like a lot of skills, and one of these skills is like the choice making skills. Uh, some people like ask when like we can like teach the student or the people with disability to these skills. I just like want to say that when we can like teach the student in like the early stage, and we can like start from like the choice making or for like decision making by like some strategy that we help us. Like one of these strategy, it just like train the student, and we just like use like short story and provide like three choice. One of choice like consider like as a bad choice, and one it's good, and one it's the best or the appropriate um, option for the student. And after that, we will see just the student if they understand like the process and choose like the best option or not. And we after that we do like the re-evaluate. We have like example here about Sarah. Like Sarah, it's like has a pen that she use every day. Sarah loves this pen because it's like contain 4 color or something like that. And uh, there is like someone get like uh, her pen, and uh, we just like ask here, what should Sarah do? This is like a scenario that we just like train the student to do all like to put him like in some situation that they can like choose like the best option for them. And there's like a 3 option here. The first one is Sarah should go over to Maria and take the bin by force. And the second option here is Sarah should like ask Maria to return the bin. If she refuses, Sarah will wait until Maria is done using the bin. The third option here is Sarah should ask Maria to return the bin. If she refuses, Sarah will go and tell the teacher what has happened. So we have like a 3 option here. This is the first option. And as you see here, like, you know, when this like would not be like a good choice for Sarah, taking something by force could like do something like have like negative consequences for her. And so this is like consider one of the bad like option. The second one, it's like look like it's good, but Sarah like could choose this option and ask her classmate to return the pen. But what happens if Maria take like too long and like take time to they don't like return it? So what is the consequences could that have? The third option that we see like it's like the appropriate, and it's sometimes it's like different from, it depends on the situation, and sometimes we it's like this is just we idea that help like the teacher to just create the scenario, or it's like have a way to teach the students some of these skills. Like this option is like consider the best option. Sarah advocate for herself and by asking for the ban. And also if Maria refuse, Sarah can tell like the teacher and avoid like negative consequences. As I say, like here, it's like option, and we should like work as a teacher or as a like people like work as a family. We work like with people with disability to just like create like some like way and create like this scenario to teach the student the self-determination. So we teach her like the choice making, and she just analyze and choose like the best option for her. And like this idea will help like the people with disability to learn and also to train and give him like the opportunity to practice or to practice like the self-determination. And also we talk like a lot of people like talk about the dignity, and one of the scholar like talk about the dignity of risk. uh, and the dignity of risk like mean it's we the people they prevent the people with disability to practice the self-determination by like prevent them to do like something they afraid about, like do something incorrect. But in fact, all the people like learn from their mistake, and we just like want to learn from their mistake and give him like opportunity to practice and to learn from the trial and error.
And to add to what Khaled just said, if you remember earlier on in the presentation, we talked about how important that early foundation is for teaching self-determination. And we felt like this second scenario was a really great example of how you could do that with younger students, maybe students elementary, middle school age, because I think sometimes self-determination has so much of a focus on that transition piece, right? Going from high school into the real world. So we're really focusing on jobs and making goals for your future. But how do you know how to make choices and goals for your future if you've never practiced that before until you get to high school and people are asking you to make choices about the rest of your life? So having that really early foundation is very important. So we wanted to thank you again so much for being here with us today. We both feel so honored to have been able to be a part of this, this entire conference. And we would like to open it up for questions, should anyone have any.
في أحد عنده سؤال؟ إذا حاب يفتح المايك ويسأل، أو إذا حاب أي أحد يكتب سؤاله في الشات وراح جاوب عليه إن شاء الله، حتى لو عربي ما عندكم مشكلة.
عربي أنا بجاوب عربي، ما مشكلة.
تمام، يعطيك العافية أستاذ خالد.
Grace, if you can go like to the next slide.
Yes. So if there are no questions, we do have this great resource for you all to kind of take with you today. You can scan the QR code and it will take you to our Padlet website. This is a great platform because Padlet is a living document, which means that you can just keep adding to it. So we've put together not only our references from this presentation, but also some resources that you can use in your classrooms and kind of take with you today. We also have some different definitions of self-determination, some more basic information about self-determination that would be helpful for parents, for students, and also some literature on self-determination as well. So if you wanted to scan that QR code, it should take you directly to our Padlet. If there is any issue with this QR code, I did test it, but we know how technology is.
I did. It's working fine.
Perfect.
Yes.
But I can add the link to our shed page as well.
Yeah. أيضا if you just like scan the code here, في مجموعة كبيرة من المصادر اللي إن شاء الله بتفيد في تقرير مصير. and في أنصح بواحد من أهم المواقع، طبعا ما قدرنا نتكلم عليه اليوم لأنه مش موجود في الأبحاث، لكن يعني واحد من أفضل المواقع اللي تقدم دروس جاهزة لتدريس self determination اسمه Wonder Academy and I
عادي
just
ممكن أستاذ خالد بس تكتبه في الشات.
yes I will write it. هذا واحد من يعني من أهم المصادر اللي موجودة، وصراحة أفادتني هنا كثير في أمريكا. يعطيك درس كامل وممكن تطبقوه. يعني كل فيه الماتيريالز، كل شيء موجود فيه، فقط على المدرس يطبقه.
تمام، يعطيك العافية.
I think
There is
Sharok has a question.
Yes. شروق, go ahead. Do you want to write it here or تكتبيه ولا حابة تفتح المايك وتسألي؟
I'm gonna open the mic.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi Grace, hi Khaled. It's so nice to see you here. And I wanted to thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It was awesome. And I really learned a lot. So my question for you here, I noticed that teacher here actually, especially in school system, decide everything for the students. So what is your advice like for trying to encourage the teacher to get this option for the students? How would you start this conversation with the teachers, if you don't mind?
No, I think it can be something really basic. So when we think of things like providing students with multiple means of engagement under the framework of the Universal Design for Learning, sometimes providing students with choices on how they want to represent their understanding can be such a small step, because they're taking ownership of their learning, which could then translate later into making choices about other things. So thinking about, a unit of work that you've been doing, what is important for students to know, and then creating a choice board of assignments that, a student could create a video or a play, or they could write a poem or create a beautiful piece of art to represent what they've understood. By giving them that choice, it's allowing them to have some kind of autonomy in their learning.
Yeah, and also one of the important things that we find it like in the research, and the teacher like aware about the importance of self-determination. But the problem, it's as I say, like the self-determination is like abstract thing, and we just like try to find like, I just shared the link that for the Wonder Academy. It's like this, like listen will motivate like the teacher to like practice the lesson. It's like I have like the lesson, it's like ready, and they will just do it like or apply it with the student. And I think like this website or like this idea that help the teacher and motivate the teacher to just practice the self-determination.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate that. And I already have beautiful resources from both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharok.
في أي أسئلة؟ Anyone have any question or they want to share their experience or anything? في أحد حاب يشارك؟ I think that's it for now. Thank you so much. We had an honor to talk to you guys, and I learned myself a lot. I'm a teacher too at Excel, so I learned a lot. Thank you guys so much for your time. And I know it's late there, and yeah, go rest, and we appreciate your time. Mr. Khaled too, appreciate your time. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you
Bye.
too, guys. Bye.